Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I might have to shoot this whole video in the third frame because my chroma key is messing up. It's not been a real good couple of weeks for the Scott here. We're still battling our internet issues. We had the guys out yesterday, and once again they agreed the problem is not here. The problem was somewhere up the line. But when you have the tech in your house and he's saying doing this, covering up the MediaCom logo and saying, "Have you heard of Metronet?" You know, there's not a lot of warm and fuzzy feeling that you're going to get out of something like that when the guy that's here to fix your cable to fix your internet is saying, you can maybe look somewhere else. You know, there's nothing I can do. I'm kind of pretty well stuck with this one. So until we actually get it sorted out, there aren't going to be any live streams. Yeah, I mean, that's just it. We're stuck. So some interesting stuff. Juno made it over to Crescent. Now, I love early pools. I love piling into early pools. I'm not a Juno fan. Just so you know, so that we're clear, if you watch this channel for any length of time, you're well aware that I am not a big fan of Juno. But I am a big fan of triple-digit APRs early in pools. And that seems to be the rub is when you're a very aggressive farmer, you're looking for early pools. That's the rub. That's when you will actually be able to capitalize on them a little bit. But this one, it is an interesting one because they're pairing it up with BCRE, which of course they have to. BCRE being Crescent, and BCRE is the liquid form, is the native token on the deck. So you're going to want to pair with your native token. It is what it is. I would have loved to have seen a Juno USDC, but there's not a lot of value capture for Crescent in that case. Now, the kicker with this one is, of course, the order book. Once it's over on over on Crescent, then you can purchase it with the order book. Now, I know we're degens and we don't really live in with order books, advanced trading tools, so forth, but Crescent has them. So anything that shows up over there in a liquidity pool, you can trade it on their order book. So I understand where their value capture is going to be. Big fan. I'm a big fan of anything that's bringing legacy tools out to the DeFi. There's only a couple of dexes over here in the Cosmos that are doing that. Crescent, Kajira, Osmo keeps talking about it. They haven't done it yet, but they keep talking about it. And honestly, with the money and muscle that they have, they can pretty well do it. Anytime they want. If there's a reason that they're holding off, I'd love to know the reason. Scott at ThePodocasts.com, and I'm sure they're going to reach out to me. For what it's worth, guys, Osmo folks, I have a lot of money on your decks. Just saying, man. So anyway, let's take a look at it here real quick. So, Bitcoin's doing what Bitcoin does. I'm not exactly sweating it. We had a little bit of a bleed off yesterday, 8, 9, 10% out in the Cosmos world, but they're all recovering nice. My big holding over here is still Jackal. Jackal's doing what Jackal does, and the closer they get to launch, just the more valuable this token's going to be. So I'm all about it. I'm very heavy in it. So needless to say, it gets its own little tab right up here. But we're talking about Crescent. We're talking about Juno. So I just moved over $1,000. What did I move over here? $1,120, I think. Just some loose atom I had. So we moved it over here to jump on because again, you want to be early for these kind of things. Now, the advantage of Crescent, why I like Crescent so much, is the fact that there are no lock-ins on Crescent. I can get in at will. I can get out at will. It's nice and easy for me to move and push money around over here. But they are doing some nifty stuff. Now, the Juno is nice because obviously, you got to have some Juno if you want to farm this DEX. But they're just doing some really nifty things over here with a couple of really good pools. So I happen to like this one only because it was a good place for me to dump all that Terra Phoenix crap that they gave us after for those of us who got savaged by UST. And, it's just been sitting there doing nothing. So that's a nice pool to dump it in, 190%. Yay for me. It pays straight out in Crescent, which you can pull. Just you can pull it, you can move it back over to your Osmo wallet, liquidate it right here on the DEX, whatever you want to do. It's just kind of a nice little rub. It's a really decent pool, really good APR for a token that's effectively doing nothing, and of course it's paired with BCRE. Juno, they did the same thing. They have to. All right, this is the liquid form of the native token of the DEX, so they are going to pair up with BCRE. Now, fortunately, or what I consider fortunate, is Crescent has not been running terribly. It's not exactly popping, but looking at it over, okay, that's what we want, is a broken deck. Looking at it over the last month, it hadn't been running bad. I mean, everything's up, and the part that I like about it is that this one is not up stupidly. All right, it's still there. It's just not. You know what? I'm even going to give him a smile. We got a lot of look at there. I'm the only guy who even looks at Crescent, but it hasn't been running bad, and it hasn't exploded. It hasn't done a fetch. It hasn't done an awry. It hasn't done a jackal, because jackal just monstrously rolled. It's been nice. It's been steady. It's been running more or less with the Cosmos. So I'm cool with it, because what I want out of a farm is predictability. That's what I want. The steadier it is, the better off I am in it. And Juno has not exactly exploded. It's also kind of just been hovering, well, I mean, it did okay, but we're talking going from $1.20 to $1.40 is not exactly a monstrous gain. So it's been holding out in there with. It ran about the same as Crescent, and I love that in a pool. I love it when the two tokens are effectively running together, because it minimizes my impermanent loss. I know we don't like to talk about impermanent loss. I know we don't even like to make reference to it, but it's a fact. And if you're a farmer, I'm a farmer, you are very, very conscious of impermanent loss. So I like that those two tokens right there are running so well together, and it's going to minimize that out for me. Now, this APR isn't going to last. The pool's not really big yet. I mean, it just launched, and in order for it to really, I mean, $48,000 in TVL, I could buy the pool right now, but I'm not going to buy $48,000 worth of Juno, by the way. There's no way am I going to. I'm not taking that ride. But maybe if the Juno folks actually wake up, the people who are big into Juno, it's going to go to 42, and and maybe if they actually pitch in and try to support the pool, then that APR is going to come down. But if you're just blindly holding Juno, man, that is a bad bet. That is a terrible, terrible bet, in my opinion. You need to insulate it, because that thing is volatile as hell. We all remember $42, and we all remember what was it, about $1.20. So if you can get an opportunity to insulate yourself. Now, again, the nifty thing about it is that it came over here to the order book. So unfortunately, you have to buy it with BCRE. So you're going to have to do some math on that one, because that's the only pool that this is available on. So you're going to have to do a little bit of math to figure out if you're getting a good deal or not. But I love the fact that anything that shows up over here on Crescent, anything that has a pool over here on Crescent, is going to end up being a straight out on an order book, or on the order book. So if I don't want to pay $1.44, I don't have to. It's not saying I'm going to get it, but say I want to get it at $1.38, $1.35, I can come over here and put my order in. As long as I got BCRE to back it up over on this side, I tell it how much I'm willing to pay, and there you go. I don't want to pay 14.6 BCRE to buy this thing. I'd want to pay less. So let's say I want to pay 12.8. Then as long as I got the BCRE to back it up, I tell it how much I want, what price I want it at. So I don't want to pay that. I want to pay 12.8, and how much of it I want. That's the order book. So again, as degens, we've forgotten all about this, but this should be the way you're doing business, hands down. You're not paying these big ass massive swap fees. I don't think the point has been made enough over here about swap fees, about slippage. Guys, these kick your ass. These absolutely beat your ass over a period of time. Now, when you're doing, tiny amounts, you may or may not notice, but when you're making hundreds of trades, guys, that shit adds up. you're talking $2-3 per trade based on slippage, based on what you're trying to trade. And if you're doing 50, 60 trades a day, that's real money all of a sudden. So you can come over here, and if they happen to offer the token, again, Kajiro's got an excellent order book too, then you can come over here and save those swap fees, save that slippage. You don't have to, all right? You don't have to. You make the deal with the DEX, and that's it, just like that. So the fact that Juno's over here now, I think, is going to bring a decent amount of visibility to this DEX. It is not a big one. Crescent is not a big DEX. They are small. They are struggling. Their TVL is very, very low, but their tech is very, very good. So I'm hoping that as the months progress here, that they reach out to some other bigger tokens, because you can list over here for $5,000 as long as you're willing to and incentivize at whatever you want. But they don't charge you a great deal to get your token listed over here. So that's kind of my hope, is that they're going to continue to reach out, because as more tokens show up over here, it's more visibility for the DEX. The value capture on this particular DEX for the DEX itself is going to be in swap fees. It's going to be in people who just want to do straight swaps, and it's going to be in gas from this order book here. It's good all around. It's good all around for everybody. I really wish more people would utilize these things. But you know what? We're DGen, so we do what we want. Anyway, guys, that's kind of it. Juno made it over. I'm going to be on the lookout for anything else that's coming. It's not a bad early farm. If you happen to have some Juno loose and you want to purchase some BCRE to pair it with, or swap the Juno for the BCRE, they're running together. So swapping one for another doesn't really seem to. It's not really going to punch you in the wallet too bad, because percentage-wise, these two tokens seem to be running together, so keep that in mind. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll keep giving you guys internet updates as I get them. It's going to be great, man, if they actually fix it. Man, we're going to do just a highlight reel live stream. But questions or comments, Scott at ThePodocasts.com. I answer any and all. And until next time, please stay safe. Please be smart with your money. Cheers.